Yo, what's up, guys? We have a full slate of NBA games today. Not much NHL, but, we'll find some bets. So let me share my screen and we can kind of look for some plays. So again, this is the best time of the day to be sports betting. The games start in 20 minutes. All sorts of injury news is coming out. Jalen Smith listed out for Wednesday. All this type of stuff moves around lines. Also, I'm not even sure if this is accurate, but Underdog NBA, it's a great source of injury alerts, kind of shows you, it's very useful. Not super useful, but it kind of gives you a sense of why the market's moving as starting lineups come out. All that type of stuff is happening. All these books, have to move around lines as players get injured. If they're starting, if they're sitting, that affects their lines, which affects the entire market. Again, all these books set their own odds. Every book sets lines independently. So whenever there's new news in the market, like a player being injured, sometimes there's pretty good bets that pop up. So where should we start out? I mean, we can start out on Fliff. We can start out on PrizePicks. I mean, it looks like PrizePicks has a fair amount of value right now. So why don't we go ahead and we can kind of take a look. So it does look like, I mean, maybe, right, with the Pacers starting lineup coming out, you can see some good bets starting to pop up on PrizePicks. So for example, one of these plays is Daniel Gafford over 19.5 PRA. So let's take a look at this quickly. And again, some of these lines get bumped fast. So just moving as quickly as you possibly can is pretty useful. Kind of thinking like a trader. So you can see, did PrizePicks already bump him up to 20.5? It looks like they have him at 19.5, but I can almost guarantee you when I try to place this bet, they're going to say, oh, we already bumped him to 20.5. So unfortunately, already missed this play. Again, all this fantasy optimizer's doing on this fantasy tab, it's just scanning the market, scanning PrizePicks, and pointing out value. The key is we just need to move quickly to lock in some of these really good plays, especially when, lineups are kind of moving around, stuff like that. So what we can do is, kind of move on from that Gafford play. Let's look at some of these other options, because they already bumped up Gafford on us, but what else is available? So you can see one play, or there's some plays popping up on Anthony Edwards, right? So you can see there's his points, there's him plus Brown points combo. We also have Anthony Edwards points plus rebounds. So let's take a look at this and let's just see, hopefully it's still available. Hopefully they haven't bumped him up already. So we want Anthony Edwards over 33.5 points plus rebounds. Let's head over here. Kind of take a look at the data. Again, I follow a very data-driven approach. The data never lies long-term. Look at this. Ant's line, 33.5 on PrizePicks. All the other sports books have his line at 34.5. Dabble's all the way up at 35. Everything's baked in, Underdog Fantasy, DraftKings, ESPN Bet. DraftKings and ESPN, these are multi-billion-dollar companies. They have really sophisticated models. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. It's pretty clear that there's value on Anthony Edwards over 33.5 points plus rebounds. So we got our first play down, but, we need 4 other picks to pair with on PrizePicks. So Derek White, over 3.5 first quarter total points. God, man, so they are bumping things quickly today. I fucking hate when PrizePicks is on top of it. They're bumping things quickly, so they already bumped the line on Anthony Edwards, but what we can do is, we'll be able to find a slip. Where's NBA first quarter? So let's take a look at this. Derek White, first quarter total points. Kind of random market, and I'm going to try to move quickly, if this is actually a good play we want to be on. So let's just kind of check it out. NBA, nope, I want player first quarter total points. Player first quarter total points. I'm not sure where it is. Anyways, let's reload this. NBA player points, first quarter player points. So let's take a look at this. So you can see here the other fantasy sites, Dabble and JockMKT, they have his line at, 4. God damn it. PrizePicks already bumped them up to 4.5, it looks like. So PrizePicks is on top of things right now. So maybe, especially when these lineups are changing around, or if they know we're live streaming, I mean, sometimes they tend to move quickly. Let's check out this college basketball pick. If they end up bumping this on us, we're going to have to move to another book. I mean, it's crazy. We found some good value, so this play seems good. Davian McKnight under 11.5 points. Obviously, he's gone over, 3 of the past 5 games, but every game is different. That's why you want to look at market data, right? Where do books have their line set? Because again, every game is different. So you can see FanDuel has his line at 10.5 with the under favored. Caesars has his line at -161. So anyways, let's just kind of let's try to zone in on some picks quickly before they end up bumping more things on us. And I'll load up Underdog Fantasy as well. Underdog Fantasy, they have pretty good picks for these 3-pick entries. They have a 6x payout for 3-pick entries, 3-leg parlays. You're getting a 6x payout, 100 to win 600. On PrizePicks, it's only 5x, so 100 to win 500, which is why, on Underdog Fantasy, playing a lot of 3-pick entries. But anyways, let's kind of refresh this. And hopefully we can find some good bets to lock in. So where do we want to start? Jabari Smith, over 8.5 rebounds. Okay, so man, they already bumped this. Oh my gosh. So they already bumped our college basketball play as well. I think that's, whatever. That's how many plays has PrizePicks bumped in a row on us? I think it's been 3 already on this live stream, but just kind of how it is. You're in a race against the sports books to get these good bets down. So a lot of bets on Dabble right now. That's kind of a new sports book. But anyways, we got Jabari Smith over 8.5 rebounds. And let's move quickly. So we want Trey Lyles under 5.5 rebounds. So we got 2 rebounds plays to start the slip. And we'll kind of go through it in a bit, but, don't want to talk too much. I want to get this slip locked in ideally pretty quickly before, they start bumping all this shit on us as usual. And what do we want to move to next? So let's just refresh this. We got 2 good plays. We'll kind of explain them here in a second. So here we go. We're moving. So we got 2 picks. Tyus Jones under 14.5 points. How do we feel about this? Tyus Jones under 14.5 points. Nick Richards under 10.5 rebounds. So maybe we'll go to this play on Tyus Jones. So this will make our 3rd pick. But again, on PrizePicks, ideally, you want to be going with, nope, we want Tyus Jones. So just trying to make sure you select the right Jones is important. But what was I going to say? So we have 3 good picks. Nick Richards, I'm not going to include that. We already have a play in the Kings game. Oh, my God. So you can see, again, there's a lot of NBA games today. A lot of them start at 4 or 4:30, and this is like a key part of the day, right? Trey Young is playing. DeJounte Murray is playing. Both are available to play. That's why, unsurprisingly, you're seeing a lot of bets kind of lines start to move around in the Hawks game. And it should kind of make sense. Like Jalen Johnson, if Trey Young and Murray are playing, his points plus rebounds line is going to move lower. If Trey and Murray were out, Jalen Johnson is going to be taking more of the scoring load. You'd expect his line to move higher. So all this new information in the market is, oh my God. So anyways, let's kind of just try to beat PrizePicks to some of these. So under 33.5 points plus rebounds, Trey is expected to play, but you can see all these other books have his line at 31.5. And then what we can take is, you can see a ton of plays in the Hawks game. But ideally, we can kind of skip over that. I mean, a shit ton of value in the Hawks game. But before this gets bumped, I mean, let's try to find one more pick to go with. We're trying to, Trey Young points also looks like a good option. John Collins over 5.5 rebounds. So let's go here and let's try to lock this in quickly, kind of before the line moves. And you'll see on PrizePicks, I mean, they have me limited to $25 bet slips, which is very frustrating. But regardless, we were able to get this bet down. So here we go. We have our first little 5-pick entry, all different NBA games. And we picked PrizePicks off. I mean, a lot of news is coming out in this Hawks game. And if you just take a look at points plus rebounds, I mean, we can look at Trey's line. And, I mean, this play's fucking incredibly good. Incredibly good. You know, like PrizePicks has his line at 33.5. All these other books have him at 31.5. Right? It's not like there's one data point. You have literally hundreds of sports books posting NBA player prop odds, other fantasy sites. Even if you only use PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy is $1 billion company. They're taking bets, moving lines around. They have really sophisticated models. You still want to put weight into what lines, where do they have Trey's line set, right? You still want to finding value in the market is, the first step to being a profitable sports bettor. So this line on PrizePicks, Trey Young under 33.5. I mean, that's an absolute slam. And I can almost guarantee you they'll bump it pretty quickly if they haven't already bumped it. So they haven't bumped it already. So you can see, I mean, I was able to get it down again. But anyways, what we can do is we can kind of go here. We got 14 more minutes until the game start, or 24 minutes. Usually they start at like 4:10. So this play on Trey is incredible. I mean, unsurprisingly, there's also value on his points plus assists. I mean, tons of different markets. So what we can do is be like, okay, we got this play on Trey, right, which is incredibly good. We could stack a couple, again, what makes PrizePicks interesting is you can kind of correlate plays. So for example, 2 plays I picked earlier were Joe Flacco over in passing yards and David over in receiving yards, right? If Flacco goes over, David's more likely to go over. So like, it doesn't make sense to take, a receiver to go under or a tight end, right? If you're going to take Flacco's over, it makes sense to take his over. There's no payout shift on PrizePicks. But anyways, while we can, let's just kind of lock in, maybe we can get another play with Trey. It actually looks like his points plus assist line is also good. So if we want to like kind of, switch it up, what we can do is we can go here. And if you want to double down on Trey, we can take him. And it looks like they just removed him. So sometimes PrizePicks will do this. If they realize they have a line screwed up, they'll just remove the player, right? Like obviously lines are flipping around in the Hawks game. Trey Young is available to play. Maybe he's going to play less minutes tonight just because, I don't know, his shoulder. Maybe they'll try to limit his minutes, which is why value's on the under. But you can see they already removed his points plus assist line. So if we go back here, Trey's gone. He's not even you can't even see his lineup. But regardless, we were able to get down this play. Hopefully you were able to tail before they ended up pulling the lines. But, so you can see the optimizer gets rid of that. But hey, there's value on Jalen Johnson as well. Again, if Trey's playing, Jalen Johnson probably going to be taking less of the scoring load. But you can see they already bumped him. We were trying to bet him under 27.5 points plus rebounds. So PrizePicks is kind of quick. I mean, especially at this time of the day, usually at night, the good bets, they last longer. But right now, it appears like they're bumping things pretty quickly. So what we're going to have to do is move on. And you can see there's a shit ton of bets on Dabble. I mean, what sucks about Dabble is there's no like website. It's only, a mobile app. So you have to get it on your phone. There's no website, that you can kind of bet through. Otherwise I would pull it up and we could play some bets on Dabble as well, but it's mobile app only. So I try to give some plays out on Twitter. But again, like that's the benefit of having multiple sports books. I mean, first of all these books give you pretty lucrative sign-up bonuses. But second of all, you never know which book is going to have value on a given day. Like right now, Dabble has Siakam's line at 3.5 assists. If you go to Underdog, they have his line at 4. So the value's on Dabble. 3.5 versus 4. It may not seem like a big difference, but, it really adds up long term. And in terms of your profitability, if you're finding value or not. Nobody wins every bet. Nobody loses every bet. Really, the difference is, are you finding value? Are you finding plays with an edge? If you are, you're not going to win every bet, but, you'll make money long term. So there's a ton of value on Dabble, but we'll skip over that for now. So there is a lot of value on PrizePicks. So why don't we lock in another PrizePicks play? So what we can do is we can go here. And again, the general strategy for beating PrizePicks, what makes this platform really unique compared to a sports book like Fliff, right? Like you look at Fliff, there's a bunch of odds. there's a bunch of numbers, and all these books have tens of thousands of lines up. We're trying to zone in on like, okay, what are those few rare betting opportunities that actually have an edge, right? Out of the 10,000 lines, all this crap we can bet on PrizePicks, we're trying to say, okay, like we know that 5-pick flex plays are the optimal slip type. And we have some videos on YouTube about why 5 flex are the best type of slip on PrizePicks. But we're trying to zone in on, okay, like what are the few rare betting opportunities that, actually have an edge? So if you take a look at Nick Richards, why do we want to take this play? So let's go here. We were on him in our Fliff parlay a couple days ago. But the way that, PrizePicks works is you take a player's over or his under, over, under. Like you get the same payout regardless. Over, under. It's a fixed payout sportsbook. That's what PrizePicks is. Fixed payout sportsbook. Any 2-leg parlay, you get a 3x payout. So why would you want to take Nick Richards under? Well, look at all the market data points, right? You have dozens of sportsbooks. They all have better data feeds, better models than you, better than any fucking handicapper on the internet. Everything's baked into the market. Lineups, injuries, sharp action. FanDuel's not stupid. If all of their profitable customers are betting on Nick Richards to go under, what do you think they do? They move lines towards his under. And you can see all these books have him heavily favored to go under. So that's a play we want to be on. And hey, we have a UFC play. So what's cool about UFC betting, or maybe not cool, but so this play looks really good. Jim Miller over 1.5 rounds is 1.5 rounds is 7.5 minutes. So you can see here, like it says 7.5 minutes. Odds Jam is saying 1.5 rounds. I mean, in the UFC, 1.5 rounds is 7.5 minutes. And again, it's the same strategy. All the books, Circa is known to be a very sharp sports book, especially for UFC. All these books have the fight heavily favored to go over. So that's why this is a profitable bet on PrizePicks, right? Compare the lines on PrizePicks to sports books. Find spots where, books have an over or an under really heavily favored. Sheesh. Lines are ripping. Lines are really, really moving around tonight. We got a lot of NBA, which is great because that means there's going to be a lot of good bets on the optimizer and kind of all over. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can refresh this. And ideally, zone in on some other good plays. So maybe we do take this play on Melton. So again, like if Trey Young is playing, like that doesn't only affect players on the Hawks, you can see like when there's lineup news, that also affects players on the opposing team, right? It's going to affect Melton's minutes. You can see after news was released, this Trey Young and Murray news, you can see right here, Melton's line ripped towards the over. So maybe Melton, matches up better against who's expected to defend him. Maybe he's expected to get more minutes if Trey and Murray are playing. The market clearly believes so because lines ripped towards his over. So the market's telling you, hey, given this new news of who's playing, he's a lot more likely to go over. And they're telling you that through their odds, through their market. Just like if a company makes a lot of money, the stock price goes up, reflecting that the market now believes that company's more valuable. The stock price goes up. So it's kind of the same thing here. Whenever there's lineup news, that's really why good bets occur. All sports books set their own odds. And you can see they already bumped him up. The hard part is just, getting the bets down because they do end up bumping some of these lines pretty quickly. But anyways, 2 NFL plays I liked. And again, it's kind of stacking correlation. Like what makes PrizePicks really unique is you can correlate outcomes. Sometimes they'll add a payout shift. So like, for example, sometimes you'll see, hey, they'll try to throw a payout shift in. So this is a worse payout than they usually offer. So they try to block correlation, but you can kind of like try to maneuver around it. And essentially, like what makes it super unique is if Joe Flacco goes over, obviously his receivers are a lot more likely to go over as well. But PrizePicks, unless they add in that payout shift or they just block it, I mean, sometimes they'll be like, no, you can't play these two players together. And same with all these other fixed payout DFS sites. But if you go to like a same game parlay, and we just take, so we could also take Cooper. I mean, just as a simple example, I mean, where's Cooper's line set on PrizePicks? So maybe we take Cooper instead, right? Like, obviously, if Amari Cooper goes over, then Joe Flacco is a lot more likely to go over. Amari Cooper's his main target. So if Joe Flacco goes over, right, Amari Cooper's a lot more likely to go over. So even though the odds on Joe Flacco's over and his under are the same, if you take, Cooper over and Flacco under, your parlay on FanDuel comes out to plus 317. But if you stack overs, if you take both overs together, FanDuel says, nah, fuck that shit. If Joe Flacco goes over, Amari Cooper's a lot more likely to go over. So they drastically reduce the payout from literally it's a factor of 2, right? Plus 317 goes down to plus 169 because these plays are very positively correlated. I mean, Amari Cooper is like, he's like 30% of Joe Flacco's line. So on PrizePicks, it's super unique because, again, they give you the same payout, even if you stack both overs together, as long as there's no payout shift. So these two plays are really good to pair together. And Daily Grind Fantasy has a really good tool for correlation. But regardless, the concept of correlation, it's not super, super complex to kind of understand. So what should we go with for our final pick? Nick Richards under 10.5 rebounds. So let's go here. And then we can add this in as our final pick. So we got a UFC play, 2 NBA plays, and 2 NFL plays. So no payout shift, which is exactly what we want. Again, PrizePicks, if you beat them up too bad, what are they doing? I'm not sure why they're taking forever to tell me, hey, your max bet size is $25. So, I mean, I would bet more on it. Was able to bet more, a couple of months ago, but not anymore. They hit me with the limits. But anyways, we can go over to PrizePicks ParlayPlay. Again, never know which book is going to have value on a given day. Like if you wanted to create a 3-pick entry on Dabble right now, I mean, Dabble has the best value, right? You're going to see the most Dabble plays. Curry over 3.5 rebounds, Trey Jones under 7.5 assists, and Siakam over 3.5 assists. Like those 3 plays would be great to pair together. And anyways, we'll see if there's any more like injury news that comes out because that'll lead to more good bets. I mean, stuff like this. But anyways, we'll see if there's any value on Underdog. We got a couple plays down on PrizePicks. On Fliff, there was some good value, but I gave out some of these plays on Twitter. I mean, one other play that looks decent is Miles Bridges under 7.5 rebounds. So maybe we have one more minute before this game starts. So let's just try to move quick. When you're betting on traditional sports books, it's a lot easier because you don't have to, So we'll lock this in for $250. That's the max bet size allowed. Again, Fliff coins is fake money. You want to use Fliff cash. That's real money. But when you're betting on traditional sports books, it's a lot easier. Like on PrizePicks, you need 5 picks, or that's the optimal slip type. And you can't even bet on straight bets, right? If I want to go with Miles Bridges over 24.5 points, they tell me, you need at least 2 players selected. Whereas on traditional sports books like Fliff, like FanDuel, you can just place one bet. Joe Flacco over or whatever. And this is a good play with value. It's very simple. Like once you realize you're not smarter than the sports books, which is a hard hit for a lot of people's egos, you're not smarter than the market, it's pretty easy to make money. Like you can see right here, this play I hit earlier and gave out in my parlay. And so we can see it right here. Is Markkanen over 7.5 rebounds. Fliff is giving you plus 100. What is plus 100? It's like betting 100 to win 100. So it's like flipping a coin for $100. Head shows up, you get 100. Tails, you lose 100. but the coin is weighted in our favor. Every sports book, aside from Fliff, has Markkanen favored to go over, and we're getting that at plus 100. So it's literally like having a coin that's 54% to show up on heads and flipping it with a friend for $100, and you just pick heads. It's not a guaranteed win. It's just a play with an edge, right? Which is positive EV, positive expected value, a play with a mathematical edge. So we can go back here. I mean, maybe there's some other plays on Fliff, but obviously a lot of these games are starting right now. So we locked in that play on Bridges. PrizePicks, you got anything for me? Trey Young, under 11 assists. I do like fading Trey Young, especially, players coming back, not... I don't even know if Trey was expected to start. Obviously, it moved around the market a lot, but let's just kind of take a look at, his kind of assist line on other books, right? So let's look at Trey. 11, 10.5 on all these other fantasy sites, 10.5 on all these other sports books. DraftKings, multi-billion-dollar company. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where betting volume, where action's coming in, especially where sharp action's coming in, where are profitable customers betting. Wow. And you can see there's a fair amount of good bets right now. So we have, this is all unders in assists. Quickly has been a beast since he got to Toronto, but we have Scotty Barnes and we have Steph Curry. So maybe we can lock in one more play. So we want Barnes under an assist. Okay. And then we want Steph Curry under first quarter total points. Obviously, he's been a bit of a letdown recently, I think, for everyone. Anyone who bet his overs, he's been a letdown. So we want under. This seems pretty good. And then again, we can just stack some correlated plays. So what we can do is we can go to I have no problem with no payout shift is great. No payout shift for taking two overs. We can do something like this. Where's Amari Cooper? So they tend to juice these demons and goblins a ton, so I don't really play them. But something like this would be great, right? That's a nice little 5-pick entry. You can see PrizePicks trying to come up with every reason in the world to prevent me from betting. But whatever. We'll lock in this bad boy as well. So Trey assists. I mean, we're already on Trey's under in points plus rebounds. So taking his under an assist too. I mean, this plays clear as day, 11, 10.5s across the board. That's how you get an edge. There's no magic bullet to winning every bet. You fucking follow the data and you find value in the market and you do it consistently. I mean, there's literally hundreds of other sports books. They all have Trey's line at 10.5. Getting that extra value at 11 is huge. And if you look right here, you can actually quantify it mathematically too. What is the value of one assist? Is just go here. And then you can see, FanDuel, they have these alternate assist columns. Is they have Trey as a minus 128 favorite to go under 10.5, and then minus 210 to go under 11.5. So if you wanted to think of what would under 11 be, right? 11 is just you push if he has exactly 11. So the only difference between 10.5 and 11.5 is if he has exactly 11 assists. So you just would take the midpoint, right? There's an 80-cent swing here. So Trey Young under 11 assists, if you just take the average here between under 10.5 and under 11.5 would be minus 170. So we're essentially getting a play on PrizePicks that's minus 170 odds on FanDuel, a big favorite to go under. Obviously, under 11.5 would be better, but still, you kind of get the point. You take the midpoint there. Under 11 is a crazy good play. So anyways, in a shit ton of value on Dabble right now. But whatever. We'll call it a day for now. Hopefully, this live stream was helpful, and thanks so much for your time.